This traditional Khmer sour soup is very well known in Cambodia. We call it somlow machu ktih kroung. Machu means sour and ktih means there is some coconut milk in this soup. And kroung means our traditional curry paste. There are many kinds of curry paste. It can be red or yellow or even green sometimes. In these recipes, I picked the red curry paste and I'm so excited to show you the process on how to make this somlow machu ktih kroung. Okay, let's get into it. I use kroung or water spinach, use some beef, some Thai curry paste, homemade curry paste, some coconut milk, fermented fish, and some fresh tamarine. First thing we need to do, we need to soak the fresh tamarine with hot boiled water. 2 tablespoons of fresh tamarind, 1 cup of hot boiled water. Use fork to break the tamarind apart. The hot boiled water will help the tamarind to get softer and allow the sour flavor to come out. After a couple minutes, the liquid is darker and also thicker. For now, you can leave it on the side and let it soak so the tamarind gets softer and more flavor can come out from the tamarind. I use beef sirloin. You can also use beef that has a little bit fat attached to it or a little bit of tendons attached to the beef. Since we are going to use this to make soup, we're not going to thin slice like stir-fried. We're going to cut it a bit thicker. If the beef has some fat or tendons holding on to the beef, you can cut it into long strips like this, about 1/2 inch thick and about 2 inches long. But if the beef only have the tendons attached to it on the side, then you can cut them into cube about 3/4 inch cube. It doesn't have to be the exact same way that I told you, as long you don't cut the beef too thin, because we're going to cook it longer, so we want the beef to be more thicker. The name of this Asian vegetable is kroung, or some people call it water spinach. This vegetable can grow so well in water with hot weather. Kroung or troung in Khmer language is the cheapest vegetable in Cambodia. It costs you probably about 20 cents per pound, comparing to about up to $7 per pound in Canada. After you clean it, now we can cut it into long strips. You can cut the bottom part out if it is tough, and for the rest, you're going to cut them into 2 inches long. Separate the stem and the leaves. The reason we are separating them because we are going to put them into the soup different time. And when it is time for us to cook it, I will show you what I mean. And for the leafy part, make sure don't cut it too short, cut it into about 3 inches long, but you can even cut it longer than that because it will shrink when you put them into the soup. You barely will see the leaves. So when you put them into the basket, you want to place the stem and the leaves separately like that. In these recipes, I use my homemade curry paste and also the Thai curry paste, so it will give a little bit of spiciness into the soup. And if you want to know how to make this homemade red curry paste, you can check out one of my videos, and I also will leave the link in the description box. This is 1 can of coconut milk, but I'm not going to use the whole can. I'm only going to use half of it. After you open up the can of coconut milk, make sure you give it a good stir, because usually the water tends to set in the bottom of the can. Save half of it in a separate container in the freezer for next time use, and the one in the can, we will use it for this recipe. Okay, now we got all the ingredients. Now let's get cooking. On high heat, you're going to bring half can or 200 ml of coconut milk to boil. After the coconut is boiling, you're going to put 1 small piece of fermented fish, or you can also substitute it with fish sauce, 1 tablespoon. Right away, you're going to use a spatula to break down the fermented fish so it becomes into small pieces. And after, you can start to lower the heat to number 8. You don't want to cook it on high heat because the pot is smaller, so you don't want that to splash on your hand and get burned. After a couple of minutes, the fermented fish should dissolve. Now you can add 2 tablespoons of homemade red curry paste. Stir it for a bit, and after, lower the heat to medium heat because it is thicker, so it will splash and burn your hand. And here is the Thai curry paste. You're going to put half tablespoon. Red Thai curry paste will give a little bit of spiciness to the soup. But if you don't like a spicy taste in the soup, you can just put the homemade curry paste that I shown you. On medium heat, stir and dissolve all the ingredients together for about a couple minutes. And after you see the liquid is thicker and the liquid is less, now you can start to add the beef. Add the beef that we already cut up. This is about 2 pounds to 1 kilo of cut up chunky beef. Right after you put in all the beef, you're going to turn the heat back to high heat. Stir the curry paste and the beef together, and after, we're going to add some other ingredients. 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt. And if you notice, I only put 1 teaspoon of salt, and the reason for that is there is salt in the fermented fish, there is salt in the curry paste, and so you only need a little bit of salt, not as much, otherwise your beef will taste really salty. Stir and combine all the ingredients together, and after, you're going to cook it on high heat for 5 to 7 minutes until the beef almost fully cooked. And once you see the water is lessened, or about 7 minutes, now you can add 2 liters of water. Right now, the soup does not have much flavor, so now we will add the flavor before we start to cook it longer. 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of sugar. To give the soup a sour taste, you can either use a fresh tamarind or a powdered tamarind. And here is the fresh tamarind that we soak and prepare in the hot boiled water earlier. You can use a fine strainer to strain all the liquid out. This tamarind liquid right now is really thick, so it is really hard for it to strain out, and so at first you have to scoop some liquid out first. If you have a bigger strainer, probably easier, then you can put it straight into the soup. You can place the strainer halfway into the soup but not all the way in. And after, you can use a spoon to stir it, and this way it will unclog the pore that is in between the fine strainer, so this way the liquid can come out. And depending on the flavor, on how sour you like it to be, you can put more. I end up putting more, so if you want to put less, you can put less. You can give it a taste, and if you like the flavor, you can leave it the way it is, or you can add some more tamarind liquid. I add a little bit more of tamarind liquid. And if you are using tamarind powder, you can put 1 tablespoon and you can adjust to your liking. There are a little bit of tamarind liquid left in the bowl that we prepare. You can always save it for next time used. After you add all the ingredients and the soup is boiling, now you can lower the heat to medium and cook it for 40 minutes. After 40 minutes, the liquid will be less and also the beef is more tender, and now the liquid also really rich and flavorful. It has a sour taste, a touch of creamy, and a touch of spiciness. Once the beef is tender and ready, now we can add the stem of the water spinach. The stem of the water spinach would take just a bit longer to cook comparing to the leaves. And it doesn't take long to cook this vegetable, so as soon as the soup boils, we will add the leaves of the kroung or the water spinach, and after that we're going to bring it to boil again and turn off the heat, and the soup is all ready. And once the soup is boiling, you can go ahead and add the leaf part of the water spinach. Stir and bring it to boil, and you can now turn off the heat. And that's it guys on how you can make this Khmer sour soup or somlow machu kroung. I hope this video is easy enough for you to follow so you can make this delicious sour soup for you and your family at home. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share with your family and friends. And if you have any comment, don't hesitate to leave me any comments in the comment box. I will try to answer all the questions to the best that I can. And also, don't forget to press the subscribe button for more delicious homemade recipes. Thank you so much guys for watching, and I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye for now.